Hello everyone, welcome to Timsy's Naked Tarots. Don't worry, Timsy is not naked. As you can see, I'm in my American football top again. Go the Raiders. Sorry if you don't support them. Welcome to Signs on Sunday. It is that time of week again, although I have missed the 10 past 10 normal start time of this. Well, what can I say? I got home yesterday, I fell asleep and stayed asleep. Okay, so we are dealing with hedgehogs today. H for hedgehogs. Main reason we're dealing with hedgehogs today is because a friend of mine saw a hedgehog. Okay, on her way home, she saw a hedgehog, strangely enough, just outside where I used to live when I was young. She's always lived in that village roundabouts, so it wasn't anything new to her. But she saw a hedgehog on the way home, and she messaged me about it, and I thought, well, fine, we'll do hedgehogs for H. So that's the main reason we're doing hedgehogs today. My first thoughts about hedgehogs, when I thought, well, what can hedgehogs mean in a spiritual sense, was prickliness. If prickliness is such a word, obviously it's a spiky animal, and it curls up in a ball with all its spines out, which makes it a defensive creature as well. And so they were my first two thoughts. So then I thought, well, okay, let's have a look. And I went on the internet and I found there's a lot deeper stuff going on about hedgehogs than I first ever imagined. To start with, yes, okay, defense. They do have a defense, but it is a non-aggression defense. They don't have spikes on their barbs. They don't have any poisons attached to their barbs or anything. So it is a purely defensive defense. They're not having any sort of offense within that defense. One of the other things about hedgehogs is they are linked with Mother Nature. They are linked with, in turn, motherhood and fertility, inner peace, happiness, pure happiness. So perhaps that's what my friend felt as she was going through her little village and she saw her hedgehog. She was nearly home. Pure happiness. Okay. Yeah, so that's that. They're non-aggressive defensively. Hedgehogs are also strongly tied with Mother Earth. Apparently it's because they're low down, their bellies are nearly on the ground and all that. It kind of makes them tied with Mother Earth and in turn sort of earth elements. So the sort of the earth signs of the zodiacs are all linked with hedgehogs as well. As I started to research this a little bit more, I found that in Iran, hedgehogs are linked with fertility and abundance for that same reason, the fact that they are low down to the ground. They believe where hedgehogs go, I say they believe, and maybe not nowadays, okay, but way back when, they believed where hedgehogs go, they are associated with bringing fertility and abundance to the fields that they frequent. And also in ancient times, they saw hedgehogs as sun. When they curl up in their ball and all their little spikes come out, they saw that the hedgehogs looked like the rays of the sun coming out. And so they associated them with the sun, which is also kind of strange. It got me thinking when I was reading that little bit. Ancient times, yeah, they didn't have telescopes or any means to actually look at the sun like we do now. But they believe the sun was always depicted with having rays coming off it. Okay, where did they get that from? To them, it's like us looking at the sun without any aid now. Or not that I condone that. You shouldn't be doing that. Hurts your eyes, burns your retinas, and the like. But when we observe the sun in any shape or form, we accidentally look up and see it. It's just a ball. It's just a ball in the sky. So where do the rays come from? Yeah, I get when the sun goes through the cloud, it sometimes makes rays, so you may associate that with, well, rays must come off the sun in the first place. Or did they have some knowledge we have lost in the progression of time? Yeah, we all think they're ancient and backwards, but perhaps not. Perhaps they had ancient knowledge that actually says the sun has flares and stuff coming off it, which form what look like rays when you're looking at it through a telescope. Like obviously I'm talking about solar flares and the type. But anyway, getting back to the hedgehogs, I'm digressing a bit there. Yeah, so they were related to the sun. So they were also kind of related to the fire signs of the zodiac as well. But they're nocturnal creatures. So you didn't really see them out during the day that much, maybe early morning, late evening, possibly during the day if they're on a migration for some reason. But yeah, generally speaking, they're nocturnal. They go around at night time, which links them with like the psychic and intuitive sort of stuff, night vision, being able to see things which we can't see. So you could say like a spirit vision, if you like. So they're quite a mixed bag, really, of various different things, being sort of associated with the sun and with the moon from the nighttime and their nocturnal activities. It made them kind of like a balancing point between sun and moon, day and night, good and evil to a certain extent. Which then brings us on to the next bit. The hedgehogs were also, well, I say are also naturally resilient to a lot of natural snake venoms. So in olden European tribes, they saw this as a victory against the evil. Now, obviously, when we get up to West, we may be dealing with snakes and we may be dealing with how they are associated with evil. And that could open a whole can of worms for me, and I could alienate the whole religious people in my viewership, because is it just a misunderstanding? Is it history is written by the victor? But again, I'm digressing. We're talking hedgehogs at the moment, so we will stick with the hedgehogs. So hedgehogs, yes, a victory over evil. I struggled to find information about hedgehogs in Nordic beliefs. I struggled to find hedgehogs in Egyptian beliefs as well. There was a small bit about it in Egyptians. They tended to be seen as a form of good luck, and they used to make amulets out of hedgehog parts, like how we do with rabbit feet now, I suppose. And they also sometimes carved hedgehogs into the hulls of their boats to give the sailors good luck in their sea voyages. I struggled to find anything from the Native Americans, so I'm going to put it out there to my viewers, 7 minutes in. First little call for help is, if you come from Scandinavia, I did find a little bit about Slavic sort of folklore on hedgehogs, but if you come from Scandinavia, Iceland, possibly Greenland, I suppose there's slightly Nordic roots there, or Egypt, or are somehow linked with Native Americans, please let me know about your hedgehogs. Okay, what spiritual meanings hedgehogs have for you in your native lands. And I know that places like Australia or South America don't naturally have hedgehogs as we do in Europe and things, but you have your variants of them. You have porcupines, groundhogs. The Europeans, when they got over to America, they didn't have hedgehogs. Okay, but they found something what resembled a hedgehog, which was a groundhog, and they used the groundhog to predict when spring is going to come. We've all seen, well, okay, maybe not all of us. There is a film out there called Groundhog Day where he repeats the day over and over again until he finally gets the perfect recipe, and it then moves on to the following day. But Groundhog Day itself is all about a hedgehog or groundhog, and they put it out, and if it sees a shadow, it's going to be another 6 weeks of winter. I'm sure I have talked about this in one of my previous videos, but yeah, so we will cover that a little bit further on as well. But let's get back to it. It's a balance between light and dark, good and evil. It's seen as a victory over evil by ancient European tribes. In ancient Greece and Rome, they observed that hedgehogs used to be able to knock grapes off vines and then in turn roll on them, pick them up with their spikes and carry them off for later consumption, I suppose. I don't even know if hedgehogs eat grapes. I know they eat slugs. They're very good for the gardeners. Gardeners are like hedgehogs. Which gave them an aspect of intelligence, cleverness, ingenuity, and they were very sort of like that. So from the Romans and the Greeks, we get like intelligence for hedgehogs. So hedgehog signs would be intelligence. Hedgehogs were also seen as, I'm now getting to it, the harbingers of spring, and sort of when they come out of hibernation, it sort of tells you when winter is over. Okay, and as I said, in America, they actually still celebrate Groundhog Day. I can't remember where it's called. There you go. Someone who's watching this, throw it in the comments. Tell me where they do the groundhog ceremony. Okay, and it tells of the forthcoming of spring. Would it be an early spring or would it be a late spring? And from what I was reading, this was brought over by the Europeans when they first started colonizing America. Okay, in Babylon, in Babylonian times, they believed that like Mother Earth, whatever you want to call Mother Earth, Gaia, whatever name, could turn herself into the form of a hedgehog to, I don't know, spread abundance and fertility all over the land. Oh, see a link there? We're going back to someone else's beliefs there, aren't we? So, page 3. No, that's gone back to page 2, page 3. So, as I mentioned also a little bit earlier, there is Slavic fairy tales, and the hedgehogs in the Slavic fairy tales. Slavic, if you're not sure, is like Russian type culture. Russia, Bulgaria, places like that, and Slavic is kind of like the language the root language, if you will, of those areas. So anyone who talks with like a Russian type dialect is from a Slavic country. But they believed that the hedgehogs were quite often linked with wisdom in their fairy tales or folklore. They were wise and they guided people with intelligence. Okay, and again, bringing us to the intelligence of Rome and Greece, and the bearers of ancient knowledge as well. Now, I think there was a story from the fairy tales of the Slavics, which is a hedgehog was friends with a wolf and a fox, and a plum fell off some traveller's car. Okay, and they all come across it at the same time, and the hedgehog, being wise and clever, outsmarted both the fox and the wolf and ended up getting the plum for itself. Don't know what fairy tale that is. Couldn't find a link to it, so maybe you know. If you come from a Slavic country and you're watching this and you know this fairy tale, please let me know. I'll be fascinated by it. Okay, hedgehogs in dreams, as this is dreams and signs on Sunday. Now, after my first few I done and realised I was covering dreams just as much as I was covering signs. Hedgehogs represent things like exposure, you being exposed to something, okay, being open and vulnerable in some way or another, or being misunderstood as well. If you dream that you are meeting a hedgehog, then that could be telling you that you should be, or could be foretelling that you are going to meet a new acquaintance soon who will be loyal, trustworthy and honest. Okay, if you're dreaming of a balled up hedgehog, it means that you may have to become defensive at some point in the foreseeable future. The colours of the hedgehogs also have bearings on what the hedgehog dreams mean, just like with everything else. Okay, so for instance, if you're dreaming of dragons and they're red, you can associate the spiritual meanings of red to the spiritual meanings of the dragon and combine the two. For instance, a white hedgehog would be peace and tranquility. Okay, so yeah, that kind of covers the dreamy aspect of hedgehogs. And obviously, depending on what your hedgehog is doing, if you're seeing a hedgehog running around with lots of grapes on its spines, then you're thinking, that's intelligent, isn't it? Which means you might have to use some sort of intelligence or ingenuity for yourself in the future. Think of the hedgehog. Okay, in the Far East, hedgehogs tend to be associated with harvest and fertility. And in Egypt, they're rebirth and intelligence. Okay, again, intelligence getting down to there. Now, not sure if the Egyptians had intelligence first, passed it on to the Greeks and Romans, or the Romans and Greeks passed it on to the Egyptians. So there was a crossover in ancient times of their cultures. Okay, just like many other places. And just the same as there was probably a crossover between the Far East and the Babylonians at some point. And that could be where the harvest and fertility come from. And it spreads around. Okay, it's how things work. As I said, in the Native American Indians, I couldn't find anything. Vikings, I couldn't find anything. So if you're Nordic in any shape or form, let me know of your spiritual meanings for hedgehogs or animals which are similar to hedgehogs. Well, we're talking small mammals, spikes, that sort of thing. Just a quick little public announcement. For the US and the UK, there is actually a Hedgehog Awareness Week, which is normally in May. And also don't forget to check your bonfires, leaf piles and things like that early-ish autumn before you set light to them, if you're going to set light to them, to make sure no hedgehog has decided that they are going to nest in there, because hedgehogs also hibernate during the winter, especially in the more northern climes. Now, hibernation, again, we'll throw that into the mix now. A hedgehog, when you see a hedgehog in a dream or as a sign or something like that, and remember, signs are always personal to you. What I see a hedgehog as, you may not agree with, you may not see it like that. It means something different to everyone, just like the tarot reads and everything else. So if you see a hedgehog, it could be saying that something that you have put on the back burner or you have stopped investing in or working on, it's time for that to come back about. Okay, it's coming out of hibernation. It's time to start working on it again. So there is another meaning for what hedgehogs could be for. Okay, that's page 4. I've done quite a lot of notes on this one. Page 4 is literally just talking about the meanings, generally. So as a list form, a hedgehog spiritually means abundance, fertility, balance, creativity, curiosity. I'm pausing, I'm hesitating, I can't read my own writing. What can I say? I do it all in shorthand, note form, and then regret it when I actually come to do the video. Defensiveness, grounding, intelligence, protection, resourcefulness, ingenuity, links with Mother Earth and nature and the like. Obviously, I will put out another public announcement. If you see hedgehogs, leave them alone. They are wild creatures. They are not pets. Okay? If you see a hedgehog in distress, be careful with it. Be gentle with it. I would expect or suggest use some sort of covering for the hedgehog, because those spikes are sharp. I have picked hedgehogs up in the past. Ashamed to say, after my girlfriend's dog actually got hold of one. One of my girlfriend's sister's dog actually got hold of one. Well, what do you expect? It was rolled up in a ball. It thought it was a ball. A sharp ball would hurt and cut its mouth. So the dog come off just as bad as the hedgehog did. In fact, the hedgehog was absolutely fine. Once we cleaned all the blood off the hedgehog, we found out that there was no wounds on it. We let it go and then saw to the dog. So there is all that to it as well. Just generally be respectful to nature. Okay, it was here before us. I will just like to say again, if you see any weird hands floating around above my shoulders or near my head, that is not some sort of spirit, ghost or spectral. That would be my youngest son stretching. Okay, who's probably bursting to say something at the moment, but having to keep quiet because I'm doing this video. So, talking about that, I think we will be wrapping it up. So, if you can let me know about your spiritual beliefs, your spiritual encounters, or just general encounters with hedgehogs or anything like that, please feel free to drop it in the comments. Let me know. Do it in the live chat if you are watching this live. If not to worry. Not everyone has these experiences. It's fine. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, and feel free to drop in what you want for next week's one. Oh. Which is J, I think, isn't it? Let me see. E, F, G, H, I. God, I missed I. Which will be I. Okay? I knew J didn't sound right. So, yeah, I is next. So let me know what you would like for I. So far, in my head, I have got an ibis. I know. It takes me a while to work through them all. It doesn't necessarily have to be a real living creature, or it could be a mythical creature, if you like. You might be seeing iguanodons in your dreams, and you might want to know what iguanodons is. That's not a mythical creature. That is another real creature. Just putting it out there. Or is it? Iguanas are real creatures. Iguanodons are dinosaurs. Okay. But so maybe some of you believe it is a mythical creature, just made up to scare us. Or anything like that. Imps. There you go. A mythical creature. Imps. If you want to know what imps are, I will do imps. It's up to you. This is just as much for you, if not more for you, than it is for me. Okay. I just literally started doing this because I was trying to find videos on signs and found it very difficult. So I thought I'll make a whole playlist of signs alphabetically, so you can just go through them and pick whatever letter you want. I'd also say now, once I've actually gone through all 26 letters in the alphabet, because I'm using the English alphabet, I know that there's other alphabets out there will have more than 26 characters in. Some have less. But once I've got through all 26, I will start back at A. I have already picked what we are doing for D next time round. Thank you to one of my viewers who commented on my last C one I done, which was candles. And they said, for D, can you do dragons? And I said, no, I've already done D. But don't worry, I'm dealing with them on a personal level about their dreams and their signs. And that's another one. If you do have dreams or signs or anything you want help with on a spiritual nature, feel free to email me. I will get back to you eventually. It might take me a few days or so because, again, as I say in all my videos, not all my videos, but a lot of my videos, I am reasonably busy with work. I have a family to deal with. I make that sound like such a hardship, don't I? I have a family. I have to deal with them. Yeah, so I have a family, which takes up some of my time. And again, it's made it sound negative, hasn't it? But I love my family, so that's fine. And yeah, so my time is stretched, and I do this just for you lot, for help you all. There's no financial gain for me doing this, not yet anyway. Yes, sooner or later I will get to the point where YouTube starts advertising my videos, if I like it or not, at which point I would accept the revenue what comes in, because I would be a fool not to. But I won't ever just be putting out videos just to make ad revenue, okay? Yes, I could put out all these lovey-dovey unicorn videos, which are all kind and happiness. They are the ones what bring the viewers in, and they are the ones what produce more ad revenue. No, I will always do exactly what the cards are telling me to do. And trust me, I had a couple of horrible ones over the last few reads I've done. I had one where it was a forced impregnation, I suppose is the best way to say it. I don't want to say the R word on here because that could raise a flag or two. I've had ones where they're in abusive relationships in the past as well. So you do get the rough with the smooth with me, but that is all part of my nakedness as well. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I look forward to seeing your comments in the live chat, and look forward to seeing your comments in the live chat next week as well, when we are doing igloos. There you go, another one beginning with I. I'm going to struggle with I. It might be another vote for the public, I think. Okay, thank you very much. I'll catch you all soon. Have a wonderful week, and cheerio.